guess I'm a physio and fit as a physio. These are some taping techniques I use to prevent and treat injuries.
Thumb. What are we going to protect for thumb? Or how are we going to protect thumb?
Thumbs like like that.
Yeah. Either hyperextending or hyperabducting their thumbs. Scaphoid fractures or scaphoid injuries. So I get clients, players to get in a position where they're holding a glass.
A beer?
Hold a beer. Most footy boys know how to hold a beer, so get them in to hold the beer, and that's your starting position. Okay, so you want to protect that sort of action. So you want to get them down into that position where they can still catch a footy. If you're strapping them here, they're not going to be able to catch a footy. So open them up, hold a beer glass, and that's your starting position. So anchor just around the wrist, not too tight because you can cut off a little bit of blood flow again. Depending on the size of their thumb, whether you go for a 25mm or a 38, depends on how big their thumbs are. So there's a few ways of doing this. You can go, I'm just going to come around here because I get my angles right. So you can go front to back, which I tend to sort of do, which you're basically wrapping around the first MCP joint and basically pulling them down into that position where you want to sort of protect. All right, so you're pulling them down there so they're not hyperextending, hyperabducting. Again, don't go too tight because again you can cut off blood flow to the thumb. So if their thumb's going purple, by the time you're finished, you've probably gone too tight.
This would be the taping that you do too tight most often.
Yep. So just
Really
lay that on, don't go too crazily tight. You can see his colour, his finger's already starting to go a bit of a pinky colour, so we'll just keep an eye on that. But you can work your way down, overlap by a bit each time. And that might be enough. You might want to go maybe an overwrap that or maybe another one or two, but that sort of protects him a little bit. Skier's thumb or ulnar collateral ligaments where stocks get pulled and you're basically putting a lot of pressure or you can tear or strain that ligament on the inside. If I'm going to protect that as well, I might go a little bit through the MCP first, but then do a couple heading back the other way, almost like a bit of a heel lock in the ankle, just to sort of lock it in a little bit so you've got that stability of it coming back the opposite direction so it doesn't want to move too far effectively. So you're basically just locking that joint in. But you can, yeah, as Fergus said, you can go too tight on these and then affect their blood flow through their thumb.
So the product that people call thumb tape is the 25mm EAB, which you cut with scissors rather than the rigid one. And then quite often I'll just use this over the top, or if it's not that, if you don't need that much restriction, just the white.
And thumbs I probably will overwrap a little bit again. It feels more comfortable and just gives them a bit of extra protection through there, and you just wrap that a couple of times around there. Here, can you find a footy underneath that leg press there for me? And they should be able to still catch a ball. Some players will freak out and say that feels too tight. That one's probably a little bit flat, but throw it here, and you should still be able to catch and still have a bit of a grip there with his hand. So if you get the starting position right, you'll be fine. If you're too close, then he's not going to be able to catch it.